Okay, so Shalom. So, yeah, I know I was supposed to shave. I forgot. But anyway, so what I want to do is I just want to go right into this. Um, I'm really doing this. I wasn't even going to do anything tonight, but I called myself wanting to go ahead and try to keep my word. So I'm just going to title this message right now, and I'm going to title it "Food." Okay. Okay. So the title of this message is "Food." Now, I'm not really going to go into too much explaining to this message. I'm going to leave this message up for people to try to comprehend. Okay, even if you're novice, I want you to just pay attention because this is Paul, right? I'm going to read Paul. So I'm going to tell you right now, Paul is a very tricky man. Okay, and if you're novice, I want you to, this is what I will tell you right now. Paul is not talking about real food. He's not talking about hamburgers and vegetables, and he's not talking about sodas and water, anything of that nature. Okay? I want to see if you all can get it. This is going to be an extremely short message, but it's going to be really sweet. Okay? Now, I'm going to read it out of the ESV, not for my sake, but for you all's sake. So if you're going to follow me, those few that do follow me, I would go to the ESV for this one. I examined it. The ESV did nail it on point, but it used better wording. Okay? So let me just go ahead and start. We're going to go to 1 Corinthians 1 Corinthians chapter 8. Okay? We're going to go to 1 Corinthians chapter 8. Once again, the title of this message is Food. And we're going to go to 1 Corinthians chapter 8. Now, let me explain who I'm going to be speaking to. Let me see. Do I need this? I don't really need that. Let me explain who I'm speaking to. Okay? Because I'm speaking to specific people. I'm speaking to Negroes. I'm always most likely speaking to Negroes. Okay? I'm speaking to you all in religion. All right? Now, I'm going to leave you all alone for maybe the next 3 or 4 messages, maybe the next 2 or 3 messages. But right now, I'm talking to black people who are in Christianity, who are in Islam, who are in Catholicism, who are in any type of religion. Even if you're in an organization, okay? Even if you're in an organization. Now, for the most part, the camps, they teach the commandments, right? And for the most part, the Nation of Islam, they teach morality. So, kind of like teaching the commandments. But in any event, there's still some falsehood that goes on in these organizations. But for the most part, we have some good people in these camps, and we have some good people in these organizations. But even though many of you may be good, you can't always speak the truth. Many of you refer to in some of these organizations, their custom is to refer to what a man says as opposed to refer what the scripture says. Okay? So right now, I'm just speaking to organizations, camps, congregations, and I'm speaking to people in religion. I'm speaking to Catholics, Muslims, Christians, Jehovah's Witnesses, whomever you are. I'm speaking to all of you now, and I'm going to give you all a break after this, okay? I know a lot of people are getting angry. I'll give you a break only because I have some other messages coming that I really want to just get off the table. Some messages that I've been talking about, and I need to get them off the table because people are wondering where these messages are. So this is going to be for about a week or 2 before I come back to you all that are in religion. But like I said, this message is to you. Now, I want you to listen very carefully to what I'm about to say. Okay? Because you people who are in religion, you need to be very careful about teaching other people. Okay? Now, listen. It's going to say, this is 1 Corinthians chapter 8. We're going to open it up. 1 Corinthians chapter 8, and we're going to open up the chapter, and it reads, "Now concerning food offered to idols," listen, "concerning food offered to idols, we know that all of us possess knowledge." Now this is Paul, so I'm going to read this slowly, okay? Some of you will get it, some of you won't. "Now concerning food offered to idols, we know that all of us possess knowledge. This knowledge puffs up," meaning those of you, okay, let me finish. "This knowledge puffs up, but love builds up." So now we understand that we have a lot of very intelligent people out here, and there are people out here that they've got PhDs and master's degrees and bachelor's degrees, and some of you all are, strong in science and biologies, and many of you just are on a high intellectual level, right? Well, I want you all to understand that knowledge that you have, I'm speaking to you extremely intelligent men out there, and you, especially you women, but see, you women shouldn't even be in an authoritative position to speak anyway. So this is mainly to the men. So we know that when you have this knowledge, that many of you out there that are extremely intelligent, because I don't consider myself extremely intelligent. I know where my knowledge comes from. If Christ doesn't give me my knowledge, I'm like a sack of potatoes. Okay? I'm gonna tell you that right now. You might not want to believe it. Okay? But you get faith, and you get more and more knowledge depending on how strong your faith is, because Christ is the one that gives you your knowledge. So many of you out there, you have so much knowledge, you're so intelligent that you grow conceited, you grow arrogant, because you've been given strong advisory traits, and you're able to, just have a strong worldly discernment. Many of you have strong worldly discernment, but you have no spiritual discernment whatsoever. So quite technically, you really don't have any discernment if you don't have spiritual discernment. So then he says, if anyone imagines, this is verse 2, then he says, if anyone imagines that he knows something, he does not yet know what he ought to know. Now, one thing is for sure, when I came off running in my ministry, I was a severe judge. And I understand something now, right? I can't be that severe judge anymore, because by judging without dealing with my own issues, that makes me a judge. And I'm telling many of you right now that's so-called in the truth, all I see you do is talk shit on the timeline. That's all you do. And many of you don't even show your face. So you can throw your judgment out there all you want to, but people can't even see you, and people don't even know who you are. So what are your issues? Have you looked in the mirror? Right? Because what people don't understand is, just because you're reading the scriptures doesn't make you innocent. Okay? But now this is for people in religion, so I want you to pay attention. Also for the Hebrew Israelites, because the Hebrew Israelites are a religion. Okay? Whether you believe it or not, you're in religion. All right? I'm going to prove it to you. It says, if anyone imagines that he knows something, he does not yet know what as he ought to know. But if anyone loves God, he is known by God. Therefore, as to the eating of food offered to idols, we know that an idol has no real existence, and that there is no God but one. So now, those of you who are in religion, and I'm speaking of all of you, if you're in religion, you have an idol. That's for certain. If you're in any type of religion, you worship an idol. And we know that an idol has no true existence, and that there is no God but one. And now he's going to say, for although there may be so-called gods in heaven or on earth, there may be so-called gods in heaven or on earth, as indeed there are many gods and many masters, yet for us there is one God. For us, for who? For black people, for the Israelites. See, we only have one God. Now, somebody is lying. With all these religions, somebody has to be lying, because there's multiple religions and there's multiple gods. So black people, I'm speaking to you. Which one of you have the right God? Now, before you answer that question, I want you to don't play any games with yourself, okay? That's your problem, black people. You keep playing games with yourself. You better answer that question with integrity to yourself. Answer it with honesty and stop playing games with the Most High. Yet for us there is one, and he says, for although there may be many so-called gods in heaven and on earth, as indeed there are many gods and many masters, yet for us, yet for the Israelites, there is one God, the Father, who from whom are all things and for whom we exist, and one Master, Yahushua HaMashiach, through whom are all things and through whom we exist. However, not all possess this knowledge. So see, listen to what Paul is saying here. He's saying that for the black people that are scattered across the four corners of the planet, there's only one God. There's one Master. There's one Elohim. But then he's going to say, however, not all of you Negroes possess this knowledge. See, we know the other nations don't possess this knowledge. We know the other nations don't possess this knowledge. We know the other nations don't possess this knowledge, because from young they were brought up worshiping whatever God that their mother and their father worshiped. And they weren't given the commandments. The other nations weren't given the commandments. The only nation that was given the commandments was the Israelites, the so-called black people. We were the only nation that was actually given the law of Moses. Now, don't get it twisted. Every person on this planet, the whole duty of mankind is to follow the commandments and fear Elohim. So at the end of the day, even if they don't do it now, there will come a time when they will. See, every knee shall bow and every tongue shall confess that Yahushua HaMashiach is God. You understand what I'm saying? Everybody. But you Negroes, you still can't seem to get it right, can you? It says, however, not all of you Negroes possess this knowledge. What? That us black people have the true God of heaven and earth, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It says, so however, not all of you Negroes possess this knowledge, but some, through former association with idols, through former association with idols, through former association with idols. Why? Because Paul was once an idolater. Some of the previous apostles before Paul, in another scroll, not in the original 66, but in another scroll, came in a temple one day and caught Paul worshiping idols. But Paul repented because Christ came to him on the road to Damascus. It was actually Christ that brought Paul to his repentance. Because had not Yahushua ever approached Christ speaking in a Hebraic tongue, had not Yahushua ever approached Paul speaking in the Hebraic tongue, Paul would have perished in his idolatry and in his murderous acts. Okay? So through former association with idols, eat food as really offered to an idol, and their conscience being weak is defiled. Let me say that again. But some, through former association with idols, eat food as really offered to an idol, and their conscience, being weak, is defiled. So the reason why many of you have these idols and have these idols and are in these religions is because your conscience is weak. That's why. Because if you come to the truth, you're very afraid of what people may say about you. And yet many of you out there claim you're so tough, but you're not strong enough to undergo the persecution for the one that came and bought you. Food will not commend us to God. We are no worse off if we do not eat, and no better off if we do. But take care that this right of yours does not somehow become a stumbling block to the weak. Okay, I know many of you didn't catch that one. Let me make sure I caught it. I'm going to keep it gang with you. Let me make sure I caught it. Okay? Let me pause this real quick. Let me make sure I caught it. Okay. 1 Corinthians chapter 8, we're at verse 8. And it says, food will not commend us to God. Okay, so now, if you're in any religion, okay, you having these false doctrines is not going to commend you, is not going to give you any brownie points toward the true God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. See, the likelihood, if you're in religion, you're not with the true God. Okay? Now that's going to say we are no worse off if we do not eat. So in other words, if you don't fall for the religion, you're no worse off. So you're not going to be worse off if you just say, hey, you know what? I'm just not going to get into anything right now. Okay? I'm not even going to get into the truth right now. I don't know. I don't want to get caught up with nothing. Right? And then it says, and no better off if we do. Okay? So you're definitely not any better off if you do get caught up in false doctrine. You're not better off. You're worse off if you get caught up in it. Right? So then it's going to, so in other words, he's trying to say, so just because you're in these religions, you're not better off, right? You're better off in the truth. So that's the reason why he said in Revelations, either hot nor cold. I prefer you either hot or cold. See, not lukewarm, either hot or cold. Okay. Now he's going to say, verse 9, he's going to say, but take care of this right of yours. So it's your right. Okay, it's your right to be a Christian. It's your right to be Muslim. It's your right to be Catholic. It's your right to be in any organization or it's your right. Take it up. And in many cases, especially in getting into these organizations, it's good for some of you. It's good for some of you brothers and you sisters. Takes you off the streets. It gives you some order. It gives you some structure. How can you go wrong there? But be careful of the doctrines that are being spoken of in these organizations. Okay? Then it's going to say, but take care. So he says, but take care of this right of yours. Why? Because we don't have free will, by the way. Okay? And I don't feel like discussing that right now. A lot of people, that's just hogwash. And it's hearsay. It's he say, she say. So since it's popular and it's out and about that everybody thinks we have free will, so now everybody says it. Well, we have free will. Why? Because it's popular. It's something that's popular said. No, we don't have free will. Not necessarily, but that's a different program, right? But we have a choice, though, and we don't have free will, okay? And this may be confused, and I'm not even going to explain it right now. Just be confused. I'll explain it sometime in the future. So we don't have free will, but we have a choice. Don't worry about it. I'll explain it later. So we have a choice, right? So A choice to what? To choose false doctrines. Choose to listen and be adherent to the things that people tell us. Right? Yeah, we have that choice if we want to listen to somebody or not, right? So it says, take care of this right of yours. But take care of this right of yours. Oh, I'm sorry. But take care that this right of yours does not somehow become a stumbling block to the weak. Who are the weak? The weak really are the people who are in the world, and they care about what everybody says. And they're going to go what's by popular demand. People with a weak conscience, they do everything but the right thing. They do everything but the truth. They listen to everything but the truth. They only listen to popular demand. So these are the people with weak conscience. They're gullible. They're ready to listen to whatever's cool, right? Whatever's popular and whatever they can get down with, right? Be careful, because what you teach people, if you're not teaching them something that's true, and if you're not teaching from integrity, if you're not teaching from a trustworthy mouth, and if you're not teaching a true doctrine, you can be destroying people. Every person on this planet will be held accountable for every idle word that they speak. At the judgment throne is going to be a very, very terrible place for a lot of you out there. And I'm telling you right now, think about how fast you're getting old. Y'all better stop playing, because you're only on this planet for your life is but a vapor. Every day you wake up. Yeah, many of you work out, right? Many of you are in great shape, right? But let me tell you something. Every day you're still getting older. Some of you got bad backs, arms, knees, diabetes, diseases, right? You can check out at any moment. What's going to happen to you if you had not repented before you die? Do you think Christ is a game? Do you think the judgment throne is going to be a happy-go-lucky place with flowers and rainbow colors, where all the little angels are little babies with wings, and they're smiling and they're hitting you with a Cupid arrow in your ass? Is that what you think it is? You better stop listening to white supremacy. Stop letting this world westernize Yahusha and his dreadful throne and dreadful judgment. So you don't have any respect for Christ. That's going to be your reckoning. Right? Now he's going to say here, so don't be a stumbling block for the people who are just willing to listen to you. They're just willing to take up on your doctrines. Verse 10, for if anyone sees you who have knowledge eating in an idol's temple, will he not be encouraged if his conscience is weak to eat food offered to idols? So you're considered so wise. You all who are in religion, you all who are in these organizations, you all who speak so eloquently, you got that Obama type of residence within yourself when you speak, and people just, it's like music to their ears, and you speak smooth things, and the majority of the world are weak and conscious because they're ready to follow. So if they see you such an intelligent person, such a wise man, and they see you're so wise, but here you are eating in an idol's temple, but you know everything. And then it's going to say, will he not be encouraged? So will the weak and conscious not be encouraged by you who is so wise, who dresses the part all the time and looks so holy and set apart and so eloquent? Will they not be encouraged by you? Right? If his conscience is weak to eat food offered to the same idols that you're eating food. Now, verse 11 is going to say, and so by your knowledge, this weak person is destroyed, the brother of whom Christ died for. So Christ came down here and bought us black folks. And because we all are negating Christ, leaning on our own understanding, just like in my last message, woe to you who lean on your own understanding and trust not the gospel. Okay? I'm telling y'all, Many of y'all got it coming. Y'all got it coming. And they say, not before you. What can any man on this planet do to me? Only the person that be not afraid of a man, be not afraid of men who can only kill the body, but be afraid of Christ who got the keys to heaven and hell. That's my only fear. Okay? Then it's going to say, and as so by your knowledge, this weak person is perishing. The same brother of whom Yahusha died for, thus sinning against your brothers and wounding their conscience when it is weak, you sin against God. You sin against Christ. You understand what I'm saying? So when you take somebody and take them away from the gospel, you're sinning against the God, the true God, that you don't even believe in. Therefore, if food makes my brother stumble, I will never eat meat, lest I make my brother stumble. So what Paul is trying to say is, now, don't take I'm just going to be honest. This last scripture kind of had me a little mind boggled, right? I don't know if I 100% got this one, right? But Paul says, therefore, if food makes my brother stumble, I will never eat meat, lest I make my brother stumble. So in other words, I think he's trying to say there, and don't even quote me. He's trying to say, because see, you have baby food, milk, right? Milk, which is the simple scriptures, right? Which is the law of Moses, right? And then you have some spiritual things, which can be considered meat, more complicated things. The milk being the easier things to understand, and the meat being the more complex things to understand. So many cases when I speak to all of you, and mind you, when I speak to you in the streets, I'm not saying because there are brothers out here in the streets that are that's where I don't care what none of y'all say. These Negroes in the streets are more intelligent than any of you all. You don't believe me? You go out there and you really try to talk to some of these brothers, you think that just because these brothers were bred in the streets that they're not intelligent. No, they're very intelligent, but the problem is a lot of them, they aren't inclined with the scriptures. So I would have to give you all milk and not meat. I can't start you off with the spiritual things, because spiritual things must be spiritually discerned. You understand what I'm saying? So let me see, because I want to go over to the next verse real quick. Let's see if I can finish this. I'm only going to read a couple verses on the next one. Then Paul going to say, because it's really all the same epistle, and then Paul's going to say, am I not free? Am I not an apostle? Have I not seen Yahusha our Elohim? Are not you my workmanship in Yahuwah? And then he's going to say, if to others I am not an apostle, at least I am to you. For you are the seal of my apostleship in Yahuwah. Many of you don't believe that I'm apostle. Many of you don't believe that I'm doing work doing work for Christ via my psyche. And that's okay. But some of you do. So if I'm not an apostle to those of you in religion, and if I'm not an apostle to those of you that run about and to many of you, if I'm not an apostle to, I'm an apostle to some of you. Those of you who've been following my ministry for a long time, and they've seen how accurate I've been and how pinpoint I've been in many cases about giving you the scriptures. Okay? No, I am not perfect. I try to take my time the best I can and get knowledge from Christ and give you the best interpretation that I can. I haven't done a bad job with that. No, I haven't done a perfect job, but I've done better than a lot of people. And many of you can admit to that. Okay, this is not about me. This is about my humility and getting my knowledge from who I know I get my knowledge from. I get it from above and not from men. And then it's going to say, so those who many of you that have listened to me, you are my stamp of the approval. You are the stamp of my apostleship. Okay, because you are getting sharper and you're getting sharper and you are understanding the scriptures more so. This is my defense to those who would examine me. For all of you that constantly examine me, spying on me and doing all of these things, I'm never going to be perfect. And I'm never going to be that ball. I'm only going to always be a servant of Christ and a servant to the people. Nothing more. I don't care about all this attention. I don't want to be popular. I'm not trying to win. Okay? I don't care. My race is not the same race that you all have. You all are racing to mansions and being these big entrepreneurs and doing, and that's okay. That's fine and dandy. That's fine. That's fine. But my my aim is the kingdom. Because this stuff is about to get torn down. Okay? So do we not have the right to eat and drink? I'm in the 9th chapter now. Do we not have the right to eat and drink? Certainly we do. You can go ahead and do whatever you want to do. Choose any doctrine that you want to choose. Okay? But you should be eating and drinking. You should be eating the flesh of Christ and drinking the blood of Christ. Like he said, I don't know. I can't remember that. Is it Matthew 6? I think it's Matthew 6, but I might be wrong. He said, drink of my flesh. And he said, eat of my flesh and drink of my blood. Now, is he talking about literally? No, he's not talking about cannibalism. He's talking about learn from him because his yoke is easy. Christ's yoke is easy. But first you got to believe and come out of falsehood.